Urgent, Antetokounmpo makes a strong statement about the Lakers. Stay until the end to find out everything, but first leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any Lakers news. From the moment Giannis Antetokounmpo entered the NBA in 2013, he made it clear that loyalty was a core value in his identity as both a player and a person. Selected by the Milwaukee Bucks as a raw, lanky teenager from Greece, Giannis embraced the city, the fans, and the organization with an almost old-school sense of commitment. Over the years, that loyalty has become one of the defining pillars of his public image. He has often spoken about how Milwaukee believed in him when no one else did, how they gave him a chance to grow, and how he wants to repay that faith with everything he has. Yet as the years have gone by, and as his status in the league has evolved into that of a global superstar and former MVP, Giannis has found himself increasingly surrounded by speculation. The allure of larger markets, brighter lights, and greater commercial opportunities, especially in cities like Los Angeles, have inevitably led to questions. Would Giannis ever consider playing for a team like the Lakers? Would he ever leave Milwaukee in pursuit of more championships, or a bigger spotlight? Giannis has always responded to these questions with clarity, but also with nuance. On one hand, he has strongly emphasized his desire to win in Milwaukee, calling the city his basketball home and insisting that it's where he wants to build his legacy. He has repeatedly stated that his dream is not just to be a champion, but to be one who does it on his own terms with the team that drafted him, in a city that rarely gets that kind of spotlight. There's a romanticism to that vision, and Giannis embodies it fully. However, beneath that unwavering loyalty lies an undeniable truth. Giannis is obsessed with winning. His commitment to Milwaukee has always come with an important condition. He wants to compete for championships every year. As he has matured, that part of his ambition has become more vocal. He has made it clear that while he loves the Bucks and the city, if the organization ever stops prioritizing winning at the highest level, he will have to reevaluate his path. This introduces a subtle tension. Giannis's connection to Milwaukee is deep and personal, but his professional aspirations may eventually push him toward considering other options. In that sense, teams like the Lakers are not just symbolic of a big market, but of franchises that consistently attract top talent and aim for championship contention every season. For a player with Giannis's drive and competitive fire, that kind of environment can be appealing, even if he doesn't openly admit it. Throughout his career, Giannis has also shown a strong sense of pride in doing things differently. In an era where stars frequently switch teams, he has resisted the trend, signing extensions with the Bucks and declaring his commitment at times when the easy choice might have been to explore free agency. This doesn't mean he's immune to change, but it does suggest that if he ever considers leaving Milwaukee, it will be for reasons deeply rooted in basketball purpose, not fame or glamour. As of now, Giannis remains a Buck, and there's no public indication that he's eyeing a move to Los Angeles or any other franchise. But the conversation lingers, not because of scandal or unrest, but because he's a once-in-a-generation talent whose legacy will ultimately be judged by how many championships he wins. If Milwaukee fails to surround him with the right pieces or falters in the years ahead, the idea of Giannis wearing purple and gold might shift from fantasy to reality. What makes this topic so intriguing is the contrast at its core, the image of a fiercely loyal superstar who might one day be forced to choose between the comfort of home and the call of greatness elsewhere. Giannis has always said he will put winning above all. The Lakers represent one of the strongest brands in basketball history, and they're always lurking in conversations about superstar movement. For now, Giannis is committed to Milwaukee. But basketball careers are short, and windows of opportunity even shorter. This chapter leaves us with a key question. Can loyalty and ambition truly coexist in today's NBA? Or will Giannis, like so many others before him, eventually feel the pull of a legacy that can only be cemented by chasing rings, wherever they may be? To understand what Giannis Antetokounmpo may truly feel about the Los Angeles Lakers, it's important to consider not just the franchise, but what it represents on a global scale. The Lakers are not merely a basketball team, they are a symbol of global prestige, fame, and basketball legacy. From Magic Johnson to Kobe Bryant to LeBron James, the Lakers have always attracted some of the most iconic names in the sport. For international players like Giannis, who grew up watching the NBA from afar, the Lakers were often synonymous with greatness. Giannis has openly spoken about how he idolized players like Kobe Bryant during his teenage years in Greece. Kobe wasn't just a superstar, he was an embodiment of discipline, obsession with improvement, and championship mentality. That Mamba mentality had a profound influence on Giannis, and though he forged his own path, the connection to that Lakers DNA through Kobe has always been present. When Kobe challenged Giannis in 2017 to win MVP, Giannis took it personally, and fulfilled that challenge within 2 seasons. That moment, while seemingly individual, also linked him emotionally to the Lakers' ethos, striving for greatness with relentless intensity. What Giannis sees in the Lakers is likely a reflection of what most international players see, a team that transcends basketball. In Europe, where soccer dominates and only a handful of NBA teams have global reach, the Lakers stand out. Their colors, their stars, their championships. It all forms a mythology that inspires young athletes from Madrid to Lagos to Athens. Giannis, who once sold trinkets on the streets of Sapolia to help his family, grew up absorbing that mythology from afar. He may have never worn the purple and gold, but he undoubtedly understood what it represented. That influence doesn't go away, even as he's built his own legacy in Milwaukee. The respect he shows for LeBron James, who currently leads the Lakers, is part admiration, part acknowledgement of the high standard that franchise carries. Giannis has referred to LeBron as one of the greatest ever, and spoken often about learning from his longevity, his decision-making, and his ability to carry franchises year after year. While Giannis may have no direct connection to the Lakers as a player, his words often reflect the weight he gives to their pedigree. There is also a more nuanced layer to how Giannis views legacy and market power. While he maintains that winning is the most important factor in his career decisions, he is acutely aware of how certain franchises hold different kinds of power, not just on the court but in shaping a player's brand, global visibility, and influence. The Lakers offer all of that. Playing in Los Angeles opens doors beyond basketball, including media, business, and cultural presence. Giannis, who has already become a global ambassador for the NBA and several major brands, is likely conscious of what playing for the Lakers would mean to his global identity. Still, Giannis is not someone easily swayed by glamour or hype. His personality, shaped by hardship and humility, often stands in contrast to the flashiness associated with LA culture. But even with that contrast, the aura of the Lakers isn't lost on him. He understands what the franchise means to basketball history and how being part of that history elevates players into an exclusive echelon. To be a Laker isn't just about wearing a jersey, it's about entering a narrative that stretches across decades, banners, and legends. That's why even if Giannis has never stated an intention to join the Lakers, his tone when speaking about them always carries a level of respect that goes beyond standard courtesy. He doesn't dismiss their relevance. He doesn't undermine their appeal. Instead, he acknowledges their greatness with quiet reverence, as if recognizing that while his path is different, the Lakers still represent something every player, consciously or unconsciously, keeps in the back of their mind. This chapter paints Giannis not as a fan nor as a future Laker, but as someone who sees the franchise through the lens of a global athlete. One who appreciates the symbolism and status that comes with wearing the purple and gold. While his heart remains in Milwaukee, there's no denying that the Lakers' shadow stretches far and wide, even touching the dreams of a kid once selling watches on the streets of Athens. Whenever Giannis Antetokounmpo steps onto the court against the Los Angeles Lakers, it feels like more than just a regular season game. It's not just about a matchup between two teams from different conferences, it's a symbolic confrontation between two eras, two basketball ideologies, and two contrasting legacies. On one side, you have the glamour, history, and championship mystique of the Lakers. On the other, you have the grounded, relentless, and quietly powerful presence of Giannis, a player who rose from obscurity to dominance with pure grit. Over the years, Giannis has faced the Lakers multiple times, with battles that have offered high-drama, superstar duels, and moments that left fans wondering what it would look like if he ever wore a Lakers jersey himself. But within those matchups lies a deeper story, not just of wins and losses, but of mutual recognition and respect between Giannis and the Lakers organization. The most compelling narrative, of course, is his direct rivalry with LeBron James. Giannis has often spoken of LeBron as a role model, a player who paved the way for the modern superstar. Their battles on the court reflect that dynamic. A student facing the master, eager to prove himself while honoring the path that came before him. Giannis has had standout games against the Lakers, putting up massive numbers and leading Milwaukee to key wins. But in each of those games, you can sense that he's not just playing to win, he's playing to measure himself against greatness. When Giannis dunks on a Lakers defender or chases down a fast break to block a shot, it carries extra weight. These are moments not just of skill but of symbolic importance. The Lakers are a measuring stick. If you dominate against them, you're proving something not just to fans and analysts but to history. Giannis knows that. And the Lakers, in turn, know that stopping Giannis is a test of whether they still belong among the NBA's elite. What makes these clashes so captivating is the contrast in styles. The Lakers, especially in the LeBron or AD era, are built on veteran experience, ball movement, and high IQ basketball. Giannis, on the other hand, brings raw athleticism, power, and a relentless drive that wears teams down over time. Watching these styles collide is a lesson in how basketball has evolved. It's also a glimpse into how a franchise known for finesse and flair handles the brute force of a player who seems to defy physics. Off the court, the mutual admiration is evident. Lakers players often speak highly of Giannis, calling him one of the most difficult players to guard and one of the most humble superstars in the league. LeBron himself has praised Giannis's work ethic, his defensive presence, and his ability to lead by example. For Giannis, every game against the Lakers is an opportunity not just to compete, but to honor the legacy of those who inspired him. These games often draw national attention and feature playoff-level intensity, even in the regular season. Commentators circle the date on the calendar. Fans flood social media. And Giannis rises to the moment. Whether it's dropping 40 points or making a key defensive stop, he brings a playoff mentality every time he plays the Lakers. It's personal, not in a hostile way, but in a way that reveals how much he respects what that team represents. There's also a sense of what if that lingers over every matchup. What if Giannis were on the other side? What if he and LeBron shared the court as teammates instead of rivals? These aren't just fan theories, they're questions that exist in the minds of executives, media figures, and possibly even players. Watching Giannis face off against the Lakers doesn't just make for great basketball. It fuels a fantasy, a speculation that lives at the intersection of competition and curiosity. In the end, Giannis versus the Lakers is more than just a game. It's a clash between individual greatness and collective tradition. It's a measuring contest between a modern-day gladiator and a basketball dynasty. Each time they face off, the stakes feel higher, the energy sharper, the crowd louder. And though Giannis may never play for the Lakers, his performances against them have already etched him into the memory of one of the league's most storied franchises. These duels are not merely athletic contests. They are chapters in the unfolding story of a player who continues to chase greatness, with or without the purple and gold on his back. Imagining Giannis Antetokounmpo in a Los Angeles Lakers jersey is a scenario that sparks fascination for basketball fans around the world. Not just because of the visual impact of a global icon joining a legendary franchise, but because of the very real basketball question that follows. Would Giannis truly fit in with the Lakers? Would his style, mindset, and rhythm of play align with the franchise's identity? This chapter explores that possibility, both on the court and behind the scenes. From a basketball standpoint, Giannis is one of the most unique players in NBA history. At nearly 7 feet tall, with the ball-handling skills of a guard, the explosiveness of a sprinter, and the physical dominance of a center, he's a walking mismatch. He thrives in transition, bulldozing defenders in open space, and he's become a force in the half-court thanks to improved decision-making, footwork, and a growing feel for when to attack versus when to distribute. His defensive versatility makes him one of the most impactful two-way players in the game. For the Lakers, who have traditionally favored star duos or trios with complementary skill sets, integrating Giannis would be both a blessing and a challenge. On one hand, his relentless pace and downhill scoring could bring a new kind of aggression to the Lakers' offense, something they've sometimes lacked in recent seasons. Pairing him with a veteran playmaker like LeBron James, if he were still on the team, or a dynamic guard who can shoot and space the floor would create unstoppable pick-and-roll situations and transition opportunities. Giannis commands double teams, opens up lanes, and makes role players look better just by collapsing defenses. However, the challenge would lie in system design. The Lakers have often run their offense through deliberate sets, relying heavily on half-court execution. Giannis thrives when the game speeds up, when chaos unfolds and he's free to roam. The Lakers would have to adapt, likely shifting their pace and giving Giannis the ball more often as a primary initiator, which could reshape the roles of existing stars. There would need to be a clear vision from the coaching staff on how to maximize his unique tools without limiting the other core pieces of the team. Spacing would also be a crucial consideration. Giannis is not a volume shooter from long range, and teams defend him by sagging into the paint. For the Lakers to truly unlock his potential, they would need reliable shooters at every position, a strong floor spacing lineup that opens driving lanes and forces opponents to stay honest. In other words, building around Giannis would require the Lakers to commit fully to his strengths, not just plug him into their existing system. But basketball fit is only one part of the equation. Culture matters too. Giannis has built his reputation on humility, hard work, and quiet leadership. He's not interested in headlines, drama, or showmanship. The Lakers, while professional and disciplined, are inevitably tied to the bright lights of Hollywood, the constant media attention, and a spotlight that never dims. For some players, that attention is fuel. For Giannis, it might feel like a distraction. Yet, Giannis's strong character and team-first mentality could also become a stabilizing force in a franchise that sometimes struggles with consistency. He would likely earn instant respect from fans and teammates for his no-nonsense approach and his deep respect for the game. His willingness to do the dirty work, take charges, and hustle in transition would endear him to the Lakers' faithful, especially those who appreciate substance over style. Behind closed doors, he would also bring a level of professionalism and accountability that any organization would welcome. Giannis has never been about personal stats or ego. His obsession is with winning, and he sets a tone of seriousness that could reshape locker room culture. If the Lakers were to shift into a new era, one beyond LeBron, they could do far worse than centering it around a player with Giannis's mentality. There's also the symbolic potential. Giannis joining the Lakers would mark a generational shift, a move that could mirror past moments when the league's best players migrated to LA to chase history. But unlike those who came before him, Giannis wouldn't be seeking fame or fortune. He'd be chasing legacy, adding his name to a lineage that includes Kareem, Magic, Shaq, and Kobe. That connection alone could give the partnership a deeper meaning. So would Giannis fit with the Lakers? Tactically, yes, if the team is built around his strengths and style. Culturally, it would depend on how much he's willing to embrace the spotlight, and how much the Lakers are willing to let go of their traditional approach to accommodate a new kind of superstar. But one thing is clear. If the union ever happened, it would shake the NBA to its core, not just because of who Giannis is, but because of what it would mean for basketball's future. To understand what Giannis Antetokounmpo truly represents to the Los Angeles Lakers, it's not enough to examine only how he plays against them or how his game might fit within their system. Equally revealing is how the Lakers' own players view Giannis, the way they speak about him publicly, the subtle signs of respect during games, and the whispered praise in interviews and podcasts. Over the years, it has become clear that Giannis commands not just admiration, but a certain kind of reverence among Lakers players. The relationship between Giannis and LeBron James is perhaps the most central to this dynamic. Though they are competitors, their interactions have always been marked by mutual respect. LeBron has often praised Giannis as one of the most dominant forces in the league, pointing out his dedication to both ends of the floor and his continuous evolution as a leader. During All-Star selections, LeBron has spoken highly of Giannis's motor and competitive nature, even describing him as a player who goes full speed every single possession, a compliment that only a few in the league have earned from him. Giannis, in turn, has never hidden his admiration for LeBron. But it's not just the MVPs and the veterans who have taken notice. Young players on the Lakers, those coming up through the system or newly added via trade, often point to Giannis as a model of what it means to build a career on work ethic and perseverance. His story, from a teenage immigrant in Greece to NBA champion and Finals MVP, resonates across generations. Players who see the league as a grind look to Giannis as living proof that humility and hustle still lead to greatness. Behind the scenes, Giannis's name comes up frequently when Lakers players discuss who the toughest competitors in the league are. Anthony Davis, for example, has mentioned the physical toll of guarding Giannis, noting that no other player combines strength, speed, and endurance quite like him. It's not just that Giannis scores, he wears defenders down. He tests your conditioning, your mental focus, your pride. That kind of challenge creates a deep level of respect between competitors, even if it's rarely spoken aloud. There's also something unique about how Giannis influences the mindset of the players around him. His presence seems to elevate intensity levels whenever he's on the floor. When the Bucks face the Lakers, the energy shifts, not just because it's a marquee matchup, but because Giannis plays with a kind of urgency that's contagious. Lakers players have commented on this indirectly, saying that facing Giannis forces them to lock in early to match the tone, as one player put it. What's even more telling is how often Giannis's approach to the game is cited by players trying to refine their own mentality. Lakers teammates and role players have referenced his discipline, his practice habits, and even his diet and conditioning as things they've tried to emulate. It's not that they want to be Giannis, but they want to learn from the process that made him. He represents a blueprint for those who want to earn their success, rather than inherit it. There have also been moments of subtle admiration, after-game hugs that last a little longer, players laughing in post-game pressers about how hard it is to stop him, and gestures on the court that show appreciation without words. Giannis doesn't trash talk. He doesn't draw attention to himself with theatrics. Yet he commands the floor in a way that even the Lakers, a team filled with big personalities and huge legacies, quietly respect. In recent years, as the Lakers have gone through roster changes, younger players like Austin Reeves or Rui Hachimura have commented on Giannis's strength and focus during games. One player reportedly said that playing against Giannis was like running into a wall that fights back. These kinds of offhand remarks, while casual, build the mythos of Giannis inside even rival locker rooms. The message is clear. Everyone sees him coming. Everyone prepares differently when he's the opponent. And perhaps that's what Giannis's influence truly looks like inside the Lakers' orbit. It's not flashy. It's not loud. But it's deeply felt. Whether he's facing them on the court or simply existing as a bar for greatness in the NBA landscape, Giannis challenges Lakers players to be sharper, tougher, more committed. He sets a standard. And even in the heart of Hollywood, where stars are born and legends are made, Giannis earns the kind of respect that transcends jersey colors. Whether or not he ever plays for the Lakers, his presence is already felt within the franchise, not as a future target, but as a living reminder of what it means to chase greatness with purpose. In Los Angeles, basketball isn't just a sport, it's a story, a production, and sometimes a prophecy. The media ecosystem that surrounds the Lakers is unlike any other in the NBA. Every game, every quote, every gesture is dissected, spun, and magnified under a spotlight powered by legacy, celebrity culture, and constant hunger for the next big moment. So it should come as no surprise that Giannis Antetokounmpo has become one of the most talked about names in LA sports media, even though he's never played a single game for the franchise. The fascination began slowly, back when Giannis was still considered a raw project with the Milwaukee Bucks. But once he began to emerge as a force, winning Most Improved Player, then MVP, then Finals MVP, the volume rose. What started as admiration soon morphed into speculation. Could the Lakers, always in pursuit of greatness, one day convince the Greek freak to join their ranks? The question wasn't just hypothetical. It became a recurring headline, a debate topic, a thread woven into talk shows and pregame broadcasts. LA media thrives on fantasy scenarios. Trades, free agency moves, and superstar alliances are discussed months or years before they're ever possible. Giannis, with his international appeal, championship pedigree, and seemingly humble demeanor, made for the perfect dream target. He was different from the traditional flashy stars often linked to LA, but that only made him more intriguing. He represented both a throwback to old-school values and a bridge to the modern NBA. Every time Giannis made a comment about wanting to win, about not being satisfied with one title, about keeping his options open, those statements echoed especially loud in Los Angeles. Analysts would ask, is he planting seeds? Is he unhappy in Milwaukee? Would he look at LA as the next logical step in his journey? Even when Giannis reaffirmed his commitment to the Bucks, the media in LA didn't quiet down. In fact, the speculation often intensified after moments of loyalty, as if denying the rumor only made it more likely in their eyes. The idea of Giannis joining the Lakers became more than just a possibility, it became a narrative engine. Local radio shows used it to drive listener calls. TV panels debated which stars would have to be moved to make room for him. Fan-made mock-ups of Giannis in purple and gold flooded social media, not just as clickbait, but as visual affirmations of what many considered inevitable. After all, great players eventually come to LA. That's how the story usually ends. Yet beneath all the noise there's something more subtle at play, a sense of inevitability that's deeply rooted in the Lakers' identity. The media doesn't speculate about Giannis because of wishful thinking alone. They do it because they've seen it before. Shaquille O'Neal, Pau Gasol, LeBron James. Superstars who were once considered out of reach eventually found their way to Los Angeles. The city is built on belief. The belief that if you're the best and you want your story to echo through time, you'll eventually put on the purple and gold. This belief turns every compliment Giannis makes about LeBron, every handshake after a game, every all-star team up into fuel for speculation. Even silence becomes a story. When Giannis avoids talking about his long-term plans, the media fills the gaps. When he praises the Lakers' culture or their history, it's interpreted as flirting. There's no neutral ground when it comes to stars in LA. Every interaction is loaded. But this constant attention also reveals something deeper, the respect the LA media holds for Giannis. He's not just another trade target. He's seen as someone worthy of the Lakers brand, someone whose presence would not only elevate the team but fit the city's legacy of greatness. They don't chase every star with this level of intensity. Giannis has earned this obsession through the way he carries himself, the way he dominates, and the way he talks about the game with sincerity. Of course, all of this puts pressure on Giannis even from afar. He's not one to feed into rumors, but he's aware of them. He's commented in the past on how tiring constant speculation can be, not just for him but for his family and teammates. Still, he handles it with poise, never giving in to fantasy but never dismissing possibilities either. He stays grounded, which only adds to his mystique in a media market that thrives on dreams. And so the whispers continue. Not because Giannis has said he wants to join the Lakers. Not because there's any immediate path to make it happen. But because in the city of stars, people are always looking for the next chapter. And to many in Los Angeles, Giannis isn't just a player. They see him as a potential icon, a name that could one day hang in the rafters of Crypto.com Arena alongside the legends who came before. Until then, the story will write itself, one headline, one highlight, one rumor at a time. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a superstar in every sense. Two-time MVP, NBA champion, Finals MVP, and a global icon. Yet, what sets him apart isn't just his accolades. It's how he earned them. In an NBA era dominated by the concept of super teams, Giannis forged a different path. He stayed with a small market franchise. He grew with it. And he won with it. That legacy puts him at odds with the modern superstar blueprint, and it raises a fundamental question. Would Giannis ever be comfortable sharing the spotlight on a team like the Lakers? The Lakers have long been defined by their constellation of stars. Magic and Kareem. Shaq and Kobe. LeBron and AD. Their success is built not just on talent, but on the ability of superstars to coexist, to collaborate, and sometimes to compromise. In theory, Giannis could be the next name in that lineage. But is that the kind of environment he would seek, or reject? Publicly, Giannis has expressed a clear stance on super teams. In interviews, he's often hinted that he doesn't believe championships earned by simply stacking talent hold the same weight. He has said more than once that he values the grind, that he wants to look back and know he did it the hard way. These comments aren't aimed at anyone specifically, but the message is unmistakable. He takes pride in loyalty, in building from within, and in earning respect through persistence. And yet, Giannis isn't naive. He knows the NBA is a business. He knows that rosters change, teammates move, windows open and close quickly. His tone has shifted subtly over the years, from defiant to strategic. While he still praises Milwaukee, he's also been clear that his goal is to win at the highest level, and that he's open to decisions that serve that purpose. Which brings the conversation back to the Lakers. Could Giannis accept being one of multiple stars in LA, rather than the undisputed centerpiece he is in Milwaukee? The answer isn't simple. On one hand, Giannis is known for being humble. He doesn't demand attention. He doesn't seek credit. On the other hand, his leadership style is grounded in control, on the court, in the locker room, and even in shaping the culture of his team. Joining the Lakers would mean ceding some of that space. Whether to a remaining veteran like LeBron, if still active, or to the enormous historical pressure that comes with the franchise. There's also the question of media identity. In Milwaukee, Giannis is the focal point. Every story, every camera angle, every narrative revolves around him. In Los Angeles, no matter how great he is, he'd be sharing the screen. With the team's history. With the city's glitz. With whatever other star might be on the roster. Could that coexistence work without diluting what makes Giannis? Interestingly, Giannis has already proven he can thrive in a team-first environment. During All-Star weekends, Olympic play, and even in his Bucks team structure, he's shown a willingness to adjust, to defer, to pass, to uplift others. His ego doesn't demand he take every shot. What he does demand is effort, commitment, and shared values. If the Lakers provided a culture that aligned with that, the fit could be surprisingly smooth. Much would depend on timing. If Giannis joined a version of the Lakers transitioning to a new era, post-LeBron, building a young and hungry core, he could shape that team in his image much like he did in Milwaukee. But if he were to arrive mid-dynasty, expected to blend into an already formed system, that might test his instincts. Another layer is legacy. Giannis understands how important legacy is in the NBA. He often references legends when he speaks. He knows what wearing a Lakers jersey represents. He knows how quickly a championship in Los Angeles can echo through time, magnified by the franchise's history. For someone who's already accomplished so much, perhaps that weight would be a new kind of motivation. Not to build a super team, but to prove he could lead one to greatness without losing his identity. Ultimately, Giannis isn't opposed to super teams on principle. He's opposed to shortcuts. If he were to join a powerful team like the Lakers, it would have to be on terms that respected his values, hard work, accountability, and trust. He wouldn't go to chase lights. He'd go to chase greatness on a platform big enough to match his ambition. And maybe that's the quiet truth behind the speculation. It's not about whether Giannis would fit on a super team. It's about whether he could build one his way without compromising the foundation that made him who he is. If that's possible anywhere, perhaps Los Angeles, with its legacy, pressure, and promise, might be the one place big enough to hold it all. Imagine it, a cool October night in Los Angeles. The lights inside Crypto.com Arena are dimmed. Purple and gold lasers dance across the court. A voice echoes through the speakers, starting at forward 6'11" from Athens, Greece. Giannis Antetokounmpo. The crowd roars. Phones rise. History begins to bend. For the first time, Giannis wears a Lakers jersey, not as a rumor, not in fan art, but for real. The hypothetical arrival of Giannis to the Lakers would do more than shift the NBA power structure. It would redefine the identity of the league's most storied franchise. From the moment he stepped onto the court, the dynamic of the team, the pace of the game, and even the expectations of the city would be altered. This would not be a typical superstar addition. This would be a cultural shift. From a purely basketball standpoint, the possibilities are staggering. Giannis brings relentless energy, defensive versatility, and offensive dominance. His presence in the frontcourt, paired with someone like Anthony Davis, assuming he stays, would create the most fearsome defensive duo in the modern era. Rim protection, switchability, rebounding, transition play, it would all reach new levels. Giannis thrives in chaos, and few teams generate it better than the Lakers when they're at their best. Offensively, Giannis would immediately transform the Lakers' fast break game. Known for his coast-to-coast drives and ability to finish through contact, he would give the team an unstoppable weapon in transition. Add shooters around him, give him space, and the offense becomes an engine of pressure. Every possession would demand full attention from the defense, knowing that at any moment, Giannis could barrel through the lane like a freight train, or dish it out with surprising vision and unselfishness. But what's more fascinating is how Giannis's mentality would impact the Lakers' internal culture. Giannis is not just a competitor, he's an accountability engine. His commitment to hard work, conditioning, and defense would demand buy-in from the entire roster. Younger players would look to him as a model. Veterans would be pushed to meet his intensity. There would be no room for complacency, no tolerance for laziness. He would instantly raise the floor of effort for everyone. The Lakers, despite their glamour, have at times struggled with consistency and focus throughout seasons. Giannis's presence would challenge that. His approach to the regular season, treating every game like it matters, would change the tone. In a league where many teams coast until April, Giannis doesn't believe in flipping switches. He keeps the lights on all season long. Of course, the pressure would be immense. Los Angeles does not hand out grace periods. One bad quarter is a storyline. One losing streak becomes a crisis. For Giannis, used to the quieter markets of Milwaukee, that intensity would be new. Every post-game quote would be scrutinized. Every missed free throw analyzed. But knowing Giannis, he wouldn't shy away from it. He might even thrive in it. The city itself would embrace him quickly. LA fans love winners, but more than that, they love authenticity. Giannis's humility, his family-first mentality, his journey from poverty to global superstardom, it would resonate deeply. He would be a contrast to the Hollywood polish, and that contrast might make him even more beloved. Billboards, murals, endorsements, they'd follow, of course. But Giannis would remain who he is. The grind would stay the same. Strategically, the Lakers would have to adapt. Lineups would change. Giannis isn't a pure center, but he can play 5 in small ball sets. He's not a traditional forward either. He initiates offense, leads breaks, and plays with the control of a point guard. The coaching staff would have to build an offense around movement, spacing, and tempo. A slower, isolation-heavy approach wouldn't fit him. If they get it right, though, the result could be breathtaking. There would be growing pains. Chemistry doesn't form overnight. But by mid-season, the Lakers, if healthy and balanced, could look like a juggernaut. National TV games would spike in intensity. The Western Conference would feel the pressure. Denver, Golden State, Phoenix, every contender would have to adjust their strategy. Stopping the Lakers would mean stopping Giannis, and very few teams have shown they can do that consistently. Playoff time would bring the real test. Could Giannis carry the weight of expectations in a city that counts only banners? Could he overcome defensive walls, hostile media narratives, and the ghost of Lakers legends past? The answer, hypothetically, is yes. He's already proven he can win at the highest level, under immense pressure. But doing it in Los Angeles would elevate his legacy to a new tier. If Giannis ever became a Laker, the season wouldn't just be about wins and losses. It would be about proving that greatness can be imported without compromise. That grit and glitz can coexist. That a humble warrior from Greece could walk into the land of stars and still shine the brightest, his way. Giannis Antetokounmpo's story is inseparable from Milwaukee. The city that embraced a young Greek immigrant with raw talent and a quiet dream has been the stage for his rise from hopeful prospect to NBA legend. To consider Giannis joining the Lakers is to imagine not just a change of uniform, but a seismic emotional shift, for the player, the franchise, and the fans who built a bond with the Greek freak. For years, Milwaukee has been more than a team for Giannis. It's been home. The city rallied behind him in ways few expected, celebrating his growth and victories like personal triumphs. The Bucks became a source of pride for a community, a beacon for a city not traditionally spotlighted in the basketball world. Giannis's loyalty was a rallying cry for the underdog, a symbol that greatness doesn't have to come from a coastal superstar market. The idea of Giannis leaving Milwaukee would therefore send shockwaves across the NBA. Fans who cherished his hard work, humility, and dedication might feel a profound sense of loss. Many grew to see him as the heart of the franchise, a cornerstone around which dreams and hopes were built. His departure would feel, for some, like a personal heartbreak. From Giannis's perspective, the decision to leave wouldn't be easy. Beyond the contracts and titles, there are deep ties. Friends made, teammates trusted, the familiarity of a city that cheered every dunk, every block, every moment. To leave that behind would mean stepping into the unknown, away from comfort, and into the pressure cooker of Los Angeles with its relentless spotlight and insatiable expectations. Emotionally, the move would be a complicated blend of excitement and sadness. The promise of championship contention on a new stage would beckon. But the memories, the loyalty, and the sense of unfinished business in Milwaukee would tug strongly at his heart. This tension would shape Giannis's narrative as much as his on-court performance, painting him as a complex figure, one who balances ambition with gratitude, legacy with growth. Milwaukee's reaction would be multifaceted. Some fans would understand, even support the move, recognizing the ambition behind it. Others might feel betrayed, struggling to reconcile their admiration for Giannis with the reality of a superstar choosing to leave. The Bucks organization would have to prepare for a transition period, adjusting its identity and future plans without its franchise player. Yet even in departure, Giannis's impact on Milwaukee would be lasting. The standards he set, the culture he helped build, and the championship he brought would create a foundation for years to come. He would remain a legend in the city's history, a figure who transformed Milwaukee basketball forever. For Giannis, this chapter of his life would be defined by growth, not just as a player, but as a person who learns to navigate the weight of expectations and the complexities of loyalty in professional sports. His move to LA would be a bold step, not a rejection of his past but an embrace of his future. In the grand narrative of his career, leaving Milwaukee wouldn't be an end, it would be a new beginning. The Greek Freak, once a symbol of hope in a small market, would become a symbol of evolution, courage, and the relentless pursuit of greatness on the biggest stage imaginable. As the dust settles on the speculation, one truth remains clear. Giannis Antetokounmpo's journey is far from over. Whether he stays in Milwaukee or joins the Los Angeles Lakers, his impact on the NBA landscape is already profound, and it's only growing. The next chapter of his career could reshape the league, the Lakers franchise, and the very definition of what it means to be a superstar. If Giannis were to join the Lakers, he would become the centerpiece of a new era. The Purple and Gold franchise has a long history of reinvention, bouncing back from downturns and building dynasties. Giannis would bring a fresh identity, blending grit, unyielding work ethic, and a unique style of play that combines power and finesse. His presence would signal to the world that the Lakers aren't just about star power, they're about sustained excellence and cultural transformation. More than just basketball skills, Giannis carries a story of perseverance and humility that resonates deeply with the new generation of fans. His path from the streets of Athens to NBA champion embodies the global reach of the game and the power of relentless dedication. This narrative could inspire not only Lakers fans but young players worldwide who see in Giannis the possibility of achieving greatness on their own terms. The NBA itself stands to benefit from Giannis's rise with the Lakers. The league thrives on compelling storylines, and a Greek superstar leading the Lakers to a new dynasty would captivate audiences far beyond basketball's traditional base. It would deepen the international appeal of the NBA, encourage cross-cultural connections, and elevate the profile of the sport globally. Of course, this future is not guaranteed. Injuries, team dynamics, and the ever-shifting nature of the league mean that nothing is certain. But if Giannis's career has taught us anything, it's that he embraces challenges head-on, constantly evolves, and refuses to be confined by expectations. His legacy will be defined not only by trophies but by the way he changes the game and inspires those who watch him. For the Lakers, welcoming Giannis would mean embracing a new philosophy, one that values toughness, leadership, and authenticity as much as it does glamour and star power. It would be a gamble, yes, but one that could pay off with a legacy as rich as those who came before him. The city of Los Angeles, with its spotlight and scrutiny, would find in Giannis a figure who matches its intensity and ambition. Looking ahead, Giannis's influence might extend beyond the court. As a global ambassador for the game, a family man grounded in values, and a player unafraid to speak on social issues, he could help shape the NBA's role in culture and community for years to come. The Lakers, with their platform and history, could amplify that influence to unprecedented levels. Ultimately, whether Giannis remains in Milwaukee or becomes the Lakers' new standard-bearer, his story is still being written. It's a story of evolution, courage, and the pursuit of greatness without compromise. In a league that changes every season, Giannis stands out as a constant force, ready to define the future, inspire millions, and carve his name among the all-time greats. The next decade of basketball will be thrilling to watch, and Giannis Antetokounmpo will be at the center of it, wherever he plays. The question isn't just what the future holds for him, but how his presence will change the game forever.